Yo, 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 yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show. This is the WNBA ChrisBeCappinn Show. We'll go through all 12, 12, 13 teams in the WNBA today. Give you a reflection of last season. We'll talk about off-season moves, coaching changes, strengths and weaknesses from last season, how the teams are going to look different this season, all that good stuff. We'll also go through win totals, tell you guys who I think will win MVP. So it's a lot to get into, man. It's a lot to get into. Matter of fact, let's just jump right into it. So before we get started, I do want to mention Playback, right? So I talked about this. If you're a member of the ChrisBeCappinn community, you know I've talked about Playback for a while now. I've gone live just one time, but summertime breeds a little bit more opportunity for me to jump on and catch some of these games. So there's a link in the description of this video if you want to watch the games with me. Just come on over. Use that link to sign up if you don't have an account already. I will be doing some WNBA games for sure this season. Super excited to jump into the WNBA and watch some of these games live. So definitely check those out if you're interested in that type of thing. We'll be live betting them as well, talking about analysis and all that good stuff. But no further ado, let's just jump into it though, man. So the Atlanta Dream are up first. The Atlanta Dream are going to be an interesting team. So their season win total is sitting at 21.5 on FanDuel last time I checked. This team went 15-25 last season. They kind of played below expectation. You can get them at plus 5,000 to win a championship. I don't think they're in that tier, but the 21.5 wins is definitely a step up, with the books kind of anticipating here. Last season, we saw this Atlanta Dream team be a really good rebounding team. They were tied for the best offensive rebound percentage in the NBA. They were a strong defensive rebounding team. And they were pretty good defensively. They had a 100.1 defensive rating, but they struggled offensively. They had a 96.6 offensive rating, poor effective field goal percentage as far as being able to shoot the ball, 45.2%, only a 50.01% true shooting percentage, and they lacked playmaking. We know Jordan Canada was in and out of the rotation, even though she's back and she's hurt already. They just had a stagnant offense. So, and they also turned the ball over a little more than they probably would have liked to as well. This season, they have bigger expectations, and a lot of that is due to Brittany Griner, joining the team from Phoenix. You also got Bree Jones coming down from Connecticut as well. So they have these two bigs that they're going to play with. Cheyenne Parker-Tyus is now, of course, in Vegas. They get a new head coach as well. Coach Carl, I'm gonna butcher his name, so I'm not gonna try to, speak too much on his last name, but he is a very experienced coach. He has 26 years, coaching college basketball, women's basketball. He actually has the third most wins of active D1 coaches. So, I mean, he knows basketball. The coach definitely knows basketball. And they're trying to play a positionless style of basketball. They want the guards rebounding. They want the bigs installing the offense. Brittany Griner is going to be shooting threes. I think Bree Jones is going to be launching some threes as well. I still got Ryan Howard to kind of focus the offense around. I think she is in, her third year now. They're looking for her to take the next leap as well. And I think that she absolutely can. The players kind of talked about at media day, like an increased focus on ball movement, spacing, offensive fluidity. And a shift from their last play style where they did play a little bit slower. So, like I said, I do expect these players to play well. Not so much play well, but I expect them to to play hard, move the ball, play with a bunch of pace, shoot a bunch of threes as well. And I think that they'll space the floor. Outside of Ryan Howard coming back, you can see Nia Coffey still on the team, Alicia Gray still on the team. So yeah, they do have some veterans. Nas Hildman is still on the team as well. Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, I think, is a great addition coming down from Washington, and Maya Caldwell is still there also. So yeah, I think they are going to be a lot better than they were last season. I like the pieces for sure, and I think that they're going to be able to play some defense as well. So Atlanta, I do expect to be a little bit better, kind of like the season win total suggests in this one. So that's Atlanta in a nutshell. Like I said, just look for them to play a lot faster. I think the offense will be a little bit better. We'll see. We shall see. All right, next up, we got the Chicago Sky. Chicago Sky season win totals also, right, hovering around where Atlanta is, 19.5 This team went 13-27 last season. Their 6 home wins was actually tied for the fewest in the WNBA last season. Just recapping, they were a really good offensive rebounding team, of course, led by Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso. Finished with a 34.1 offensive rebounding rate. They were a strong defensive rebounding team as well. Got a lot of second chance points, probably number 1, I think, in the league as well. But their offense really struggled. They had an offensive rating of just 97. They were another poor shooting team, 45.7% effective field goal per shooting team. And their true shooting percentage was even lower than Atlanta's, 49.5. So their offense struggled. Defensively, they were kind of middle of the pack. Negative 6.5 net rating team. Playmaking, assists were limited. They just didn't have a true point guard on the team. They did have a 17.9% turnover rate, so they struggled in that department as well. So we look at that, the season after 13-27 season last year, they did make some significant changes to try to speed up this competitiveness process and for long-term growth as well. They got Tyler Marsh coming in as the head coach now. He brings some experience with his time being in Las Vegas, coaching the Aces. He said, that his focus is going to be on enhancing the team's offensive efficiency. He wants them to be able to knock down some shots. He wants them to be able to, he wants to address that because he understands that their offense was one of the biggest concerns from last season. So we do expect the Chicago Sky to also play a lot faster, adapt a fast pace, perimeter-oriented type offense, kind of leveraging some of their versatility. With this revamped roster, Marsh was a coach who coached under Becky Hammond, so he's going to be able to, I think, unlock some of the offensive firepower that this team has, and they do have some better guards. I would say that they have more guard depth. I think, you look at Ariel Atkins coming over, Kia Nurse coming over. Courtney Vandersloot back in Chicago again. Rachel Banham was pretty good for them towards the end of the season when she came on for her short little stint. Haley, the rookie, I think it's going to be pretty good for them as well. Mariah Jefferson, I don't know about Mariah Jefferson, but I do think that their guards are nice. Returning Michelle Onyenwere, I think is really, really big for them as she continues to play, better and continues to grow. So yeah, I like the Chicago team. I think that they'll still be a really good rebounding team. They have some youth, but they also have some veteran presence now. Elizabeth Williams returning from injury as well. So I like this. I think one of the key things I was listening to from the media availability, from the media day, the Sky, they may be underestimated, but they're ready to surprise a lot of people, and I think that they will. They'll be scrappy. I think they'll be fast. I think they'll be physical. And I think that they'll, continue to rebound the basketball. And now that they have some guards, I think that they'll be a lot better as well. So 19.5 is their win total. I think I would probably lean towards the over, but probably not going to play it before the season starts. Maybe I'll play something live, but maybe I'll dodge a bullet based off an injury that, is unforeseen as well. So I'll probably stay off the season win total, but I do think Chicago is going to be, I think Angel Reese, I didn't talk about Angel Reese offensively, but, she did some work on her offensive game. We'll see if she can improve on, her field goal percentage because she takes a lot of shots at the rim. I think she's also probably going to stretch the floor, try to knock down the mid-range, which she has a pretty decent mid-range shot. She just didn't take it a lot last season. All right, next up, the Connecticut Sun. We will be here for just a quick second, man. The Connecticut Sun are not expected to do well this season at all. They have a season win total of 10.5, and that's after going 28-12 last season. I think that tells you a lot in general, right? Last season, this was a really good team. They were one of the better defensive teams in the league, 94.1 defensive rating. They were plus 8.1 in net rating. Very, very good defense, and they played really, really slow. Their rebounding was really good. Actually led the league in offensive rebounds, tied with the Chicago Sky last season. They were just a really good team. They did struggle offensively, 102 offensive rating, below average shooting. Their playmaking was kind of pedestrian outside of Alyssa Thomas. And they were, of course, the slowest paced team, just 93 possessions per team whenever they were, playing. But this is a revamped, Connecticut Sun team. This team has a 80. I was looking into some numbers. 88.9% of Connecticut's minutes played last season. In the 2024 season, players have departed. So this is going to look brand new, right? The franchise, of course, they're working with, some people try to get it up for sale. Like, it's going to be a lot of turnover here. Lindsay Allen comes over from Chicago. Tina Charles comes back, with from Atlanta, and she's the vet on the team. They do have Robin Parks. Marina Mabry, of course, is the key player here. Olivia Nelson and Dota will also get some extended run after playing second fiddle. I think she'll get in there, and it'll just be a year of development for this team. That's when I think about the Connecticut Sun. I think about a year of development. Of course, Stephanie White is gone now. I can't pronounce the coach's name. I would butcher it if I tried, but he will, I think try to get this team to play fast is what we're hearing, try to share the ball, European style basketball, because he's a European style coach. So they aim to form, a new identity. Anisha Morrow, I think, will be pretty good for them as a rookie. They did just cut down in the Shields as well. We'll see where she lands. I do think that she's good enough to be on a team, but we'll see how that goes. It's just not a lot to like. I think they'll try to work on developing some of this young talent as well. They'll be getting a lot of points this season, and I do think it's for a really good reason. 10.5 is their win total, and I think it's the second lowest on the board, and I think that's about right as well. But the rookies I think will be good to watch, and I guess I'm excited to watch some of the young players play. That's the Connecticut Sun in a nutshell. Next up, highly anticipated Indiana Fever. So the Fever won, I think, like 14 games 2 years ago. Caitlin Clark get drafted last season. They go 20-20 last season. They have a projected win total of 31.5. I think it's the second highest on the board. We'll look at that towards the end. To recap, and you can get them at plus 350 to win the championship right now, which I think is the third shortest odds, or the second, third, or fourth shortest odds. This is one of they're projected to be one of the top 4, if not top 2 teams in the WNBA this season. Well, I wouldn't say top 2. But top 3, top 4 teams in the WNBA this season. Last season, this team, they struggled out the gate to kind of get it together. It was Caitlin Clark's first season. Her being the point guard, trying to mesh with Aaliyah Boston didn't work well in the beginning of the season. And then you saw them turn it on really, really strongly in the second half of the season. They finished with a very high offensive rating, 104.2, 52.3 effective field goal percentage. They were above average offensive rebounding team as well, and they played with pace. They were one of the faster paced teams in the NBA at 97.5 possessions per team. Their defense really struggled though. 107.5 defensive rating led to a negative 3.4 net rating for this team. They had a high turnover percentage with Caitlin Clark kind of getting used to the physicality of the WNBA. So they were a little sloppy with the basketball. I think even watching them play in the preseason, that could be something that continues to linger just a tad bit because there are so many new pieces. But I mean, this team, like pretty much everybody on their team could probably be a starter. Like this team is going to be really, really good. It's not a lot of value because the books kind of anticipate that as well. But, they bring in Stephanie White. She comes over from Connecticut. She has a pre-existing relationship with Caitlin Clark. I don't know if people got a chance to see Caitlin Clark in that photo that went viral, but she's put on a lot of weight. She was in the gym a lot during the summer. What came out during media day, and it feels like they're at least saying all the right things. And I think the Indiana Fever are going to be really, really good. Do they have enough? Does the expectation feel like the market? If this was a stock, if the Indiana Fever were a stock, everybody's definitely bullish on the Indiana Fever, especially with given their odds. And it makes sense when you got a vet like DeWanna Bonner. They do have the vets now. You got a Natasha Howard coming over from Dallas, Sophie Cunningham coming over from Phoenix. I mean, this team is stacked. You got Kelsey Mitchell coming back as well. Even their bench, right? Even Sydney Colston coming over from Vegas to add some veteran leadership, some playoff experience, a couple championships. Like Lexi Hall still there, knockdown shooter. Pretty sure she's going to be, spreading the floor and making it easy. Her and Sophie Cunningham making it easy for Caitlin Clark. So the expectations is there now. Will they be able to rise to the occasion is going to be the thing. And I think that they're priced about right. I wouldn't play this season win total over. A team, projected to make. They're talking about championship or bust, and they made the playoffs and lost in the first round to the Connecticut Sun last season. So we'll see. I kind of feel like I don't want to say I want people to think I'm not as high on the Fever, but I think the market sentiment is about right for the Indiana Fever. I wouldn't be betting their season win total over. I think, like I said, a lot of people are real bullish on the Indiana Fever, and I think that they do have a very high ceiling. I'm not sure if they win the championship though, and that's what it feels like most people are thinking. So we'll see how things go. They do have a very, very deep roster, a lot of starters on this team, and we'll see how much they're willing to sacrifice. I do think it's going to be a big leap for Caitlin Clark in her second year. Sky's the limit for the team. I just don't think I would be betting this season win total over. That's how I feel about the Indiana Fever. Next up, the New York Liberty, the defending champion New York Liberty. Got to put a little respect on this team's name. We did have a win total, not a win total. We did have the Liberty to win the championship. Kind of feels like we dodged a bullet. They probably shouldn't have won, from my recollection. Probably should have been the Minnesota Lynx, but that's the way things were. This team won. They got a season win total of 32.5, which is right where they were last season. They finished 32-8 last season, 16-4 at the crib and 16-4 on the road. They are the defending champs, and they do have the shortest odds to win the championship. You can get them at plus 230 on DraftKings if you like the New York Liberty. So if we go back and look at last season, we know how good they were offensively, defensively. They led the league in offensive rating, 107. They had the best defensive rating in the WNBA as well, 95.3, resulting in a plus 11.7 net rating last season, which was, of course, the best in the NBA. They were, just highly efficient on both ends of the floor. Very high assist percentage. Assist to turnover ratio was really good as well. Excellent ball movement. They did a really good job protecting the basketball. They were a strong rebounding team with Jacquel Jones and Breanna Stewart as well. And then you look at in their weakness, they just weren't the greatest offensive rebounding team, but they did what they needed to do to get the job done last season. They do have significant expectations, right? I mean, when you think about them winning last season, projected to go back and win it again this season. Coach, their coach, her name is escaping me right now. I can't think of her name, but what the emphasis was in the media day was it was all about this new 5-out like offensive scheme that they want to run, like an approach where all 5 players can play from the perimeter, promoting a lot of floor spacing, being able to enable versatile offensive players to kind of play, and everybody's able to shoot. And that's what we saw last season, right? Everybody can kind of make plays. Jacquel Jones can kind of share the basketball as well. Here's the thing for the Liberty, and I guess we'll start with the goods, right? You still got Sabrina Ionescu, MVP caliber type player. She had a really great season last season, even though she didn't do anything in the championship. In the last game of the championship, she couldn't make a shot in the finals last season. Breanna Stewart is coming off a knee injury, which is a little scary. She is, of course, I would probably say still the best player on the team. Just what she can do with her wingspan, offensively, defensively. She can shoot the ball. She can pass the ball. She's definitely a great rebounder. And Jacquel Jones, of course, is the reigning finals MVP. So you return a lot of those players. You do, I think, and I would be remiss without mentioning signing Natasha Cloud. Natasha Cloud comes over from Washington to replace Courtney Vandersloot, and that definitely helps a lot because I was not a big Courtney Vandersloot. Courtney Vandersloot has been great in her career, but she's a little past her prime now. So having Natasha Cloud, an absolute dog on the defensive end. She's also a really great playmaker. She's also played the Liberty really tough. She loves playing in Brooklyn for whatever reason at Barclays. Like if you go back and just look at her game logs, I can vividly remember them. She's done really, really well playing in New York for whatever reason. Leona Phoebus also returns, even though she hasn't been with the team. I think tomorrow or today, Thursday, will be the first day that she'll be with the team. They do got a big time matchup on Saturday at 1:00 against the Aces at the crib. So that's going to be good. I mean, that's going to be interesting. They'll get their, they'll get their championship rings. Here's some of the problem though. Phoebus, like I said, hasn't been with the team. Sabally, I think, will take a step in the right direction, but she has international commitments. They do get Maureen Johannes, an absolute sniper, sharpshooter. Maureen Johannes is. She comes back after missing all the last season. But Benaji Laney-Hamilton not being there, I'm not sure how much this will go unnoticed, but maybe we don't even see it early in the season, but Benaji is she's a key piece, and like I said, it may not come into play early, but I think as the season goes on, they're gonna have to find somebody to fill that void. Rebecca Gardner, Kennedy Birch played well for them at times last season as well. Somebody's gonna have to step in because they need that 3-and-D type player. And I know Phoebus is one as well, but I think that they're gonna need another one because they'll be tested this season for sure if the expectation is championship. So I mean, you got to be high on the Liberty. Would I bet their season win total over at 32.5? I think it's about right. I don't think I would touch it, but I do like, getting Marine Johannes back. I just don't like the idea of, even Isabella Harris coming over from Chicago. I think is pretty good for them as well. But like I said, I don't really like the idea of not playing with Benaji Laney Hamilton. She, of course, means a lot to this team, in my opinion. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think we could be bullish even with the New York Liberty, throughout the regular season for sure. They'll be laying a ton of points, of course. They'll play around with their food at times. The goal is not to win every single game by 20 points. It's to win the game. Play with good habits is what you're going to hear from them. This is what we heard all year from them last season. So enough on the New York Liberty. Let's move over to the Washington Mystics. We'll be here for a very short time as well. So the Washington Mystics finished the season last year 14-26. They were ninth, one of the worst teams in the W last year. Finished bottom 4. In this season, they have a 14.5 win total as well. So books kind of setting them right where they were last season. Last season, they did lead the league in assist percentage. They were a team that played, very fast. This year, they do have a new coach, which we'll touch on in just a second. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of ball movement they play with. The assist to turnover ratio was pretty solid last season. They shot the ball decently. Shout out to Big Mama Steph. She's somebody that can definitely space the floor, and they're going to need her again this season. Rebounding, they were pretty well, but their offense overall, it struggled. And they were a team that played good for a half, and then they struggled in the half. Typically, at home specifically, it was first half. They played well, and then they kind of fade out throughout the game as the third and fourth quarter comes along. And then on the road, it just kind of went, it was kind of back and forth. Defensively, they were pretty good, though. They've always been pretty good defensively, kind of hanging their hat, at least since I've been covering the WNBA over the last 3 years, or handicapping the W. They did struggle with turnovers last year as well. And this season, I don't think it's going to be too much different than last season. So first year, head coach Sydney Johnson will take over this team. Young, inexperienced roster. You look at Jay Melbourne. You look at it's a lot of pieces, and they've also already, had some injuries as well. Georgia won't play. Georgia Moore won't play. She's done for the season already. Season-ending injury before preseason even started. Kiki, I think will do well for this team. She plays with a fire. I kind of like her a lot. Aaliyah Edwards is out to start the season as well. We'll see when she returns. She did play really, really well in the off season. So in Unraveled, she played really, really well. I think she's definitely going to continue to work on her game. They got the sneaky players, but you do lose a couple pieces as well. Sugg Sitton comes over, of course, from Phoenix. Shakira Austin, we'll see if she can stay healthy. She will miss the first game of the season, so that's not looking good. Brittany Sykes is probably one of my favorite players to watch just because she's an absolute dog. She plays really, really well on the defensive end. But yeah, just going back to what was said on media day. Coach wants the coach wants them. They want the Mystics to play really, really fast. I'm talking about. I think the quote was that came out from one of the players was he wants us to be able to score within the first 8 seconds of the shot clock. So they're gonna have to run. They want to run. They want to run up and down the floor. The way I'll be looking to bet the Mystics is first half over. I don't think that with Shakira Austin in there, their defense will be good, but when they're playing against a team without Shakira Austin, who may miss some time because she's been injury prone throughout the first couple years of her career, they won't be that great defensively. But I do think that they have the offense. When you talk about Big Mama Steph, Jay Milborn, Brittany Sykes, I do think that they have players that can stretch the floor. Even Emily Inkler can stretch the floor and be able to score the basketball. So I think that's the way I'll be trying to target this team. Stephanie Dalston specifically was the best 3-point shooter in the W last year. She shot 46.5%. So if I'm expecting them to play with pace, I'm expecting the defense not to be that great when Shakir Austin comes back. When Shakir Austin isn't there, I'll be looking to play this team up and over is the way that I'll be looking. I do think that the offense probably slows down later in the game, so it'll probably be first half overs is the way that I'm gonna be looking to play the Washington Mystics. I think the books will have their team total set pretty low as they have in the past, and we'll get some overs for this Washington Mystics team. But 14 and a half feels about right. They could potentially go over, just depending on if Shakir Austin can stay healthy or not. All right, let's push through the Dallas Wings. Should be an exciting season for Dallas. They got a season win total of 18 and a half, and this was after probably. I know that they finished with just 9 wins last season, but at times they looked like they were worse than the Los Angeles Sparks, which we'll talk about, who finished with just 8 wins last season. So they went 9-31. 18 and a half is their win total this season. This team won 2 games on the road. They finished the season on a 9-game losing streak, and like I said, they were the second worst team in the W, probably the worst defensive team I've ever seen in any sport last season. I mean, if you just played Dallas Wings overs, you made a ton of money last season. Can't remember exactly what the numbers were. I didn't even get a chance to look at them. Now this season, they actually minus 140 to make the playoffs, which is interesting because to make the playoffs in the W, you got to finish in the top 8. So that means 5 teams this season won't, with the addition of the Valkyries. So 5 teams won't make the playoffs, but 8 teams will make the playoffs. We go back and look at the Wings from last season. Like I said, we'll start with the good. They were a really good offensive rebounding team. I mean, whenever you got Tierra McCowan down there, and some of the other players that they had on this roster, that made for a really good rebounding team. I don't know if they'll necessarily be that good this year because they did lose some of their rebounding depth. They were really good, with second chance points as well. They played really, really fast, which contributed to some of those overs, and they played no defense, 98 possessions per game per team when they were playing. And their offensive wasn't that bad. Like I said, they just really poor defensively. Offensive rating was a 102. The defense, 111.7, league worst. Like I said, led to a minus 9.5 net rating. Major issues on the defensive end. They had a high turnover rate, which I think will continue a little bit this season as well. It's pretty sloppy with the basketball. They did shoot below effective field goal percentage for the full NBA. Same thing as far as true shooting percentage. They weren't not an efficient team, and they really lacked playmaking. It was a lot of Arike Gumbawale going one-on-one. They were also developing some young talent, but this season, they do make some big moves, right? They get the number 1 overall draft pick. Well, first they got rid of Coach Trammell. They bring in Chris Colane, I think is how you pronounce his name, Colanes. He was hired as the coach, and then they also bring in Kurt Miller as the vice president and general manager of the team, coming over from the Los Angeles Sparks. So that's from a top perspective. They're trying to change the culture over there. They need a reset. They want to address some of the weaknesses and build around some of the young talent that they have, and kind of use some of the vets to help some of the young talent as well. So this coach, Chris Colclains, I think is how you pronounce his name. He was the assistant coach for USC. Worked with the Connecticut Sun and Los Angeles Sparks as well. He wants them to play really free. He wants them to be creative. And I think we'll see that, right? When you think about young players like a Paige Beckers, who was drafted number 1 overall, I do think that Paige is going to be good. Don't get it twisted, but I think that there will be some growing pains for Paige as she transitions to the W, as we see with most teams. She went number 1 overall. There's a lot of buzz around her, of course. And she seems very mature. I like the way she answered the questions. She talked a lot about, being where her feet were, being present. But I mean, and then also the other key addition would have to be, I didn't touch on it yet, but you got the WNBA 2024 WNBA Most Improved Player, Dejanay Carrington, joining the team. You also pick up Melissa Smith, her significant other, Ty Harris, Tashana Harris comes over as well, and Misha Hines Allen comes over from Minnesota. So they do, like, this is going to be I think the defense gets a little bit better. I think the Wings play a little bit better. best player on the team is Enrique Gumbawale though, and I don't want to feel like I don't want to sound like I'm hating on Enrique, but none of Enrique got some better players. Let's see what they do. I mean, I watched this team get absolutely smoked by the Las Vegas Aces, and like I said, I do think that they're still going to struggle with turnovers. I do think they're going to continue to play really, really fast. I'll be looking to play wings overs yet again. I don't think that the defense gets much better. I do like Maddie Segras. She, having a year under her belt, I think will be good for her. They have some pieces. We'll see if they can put it together though. I don't think I'm quite sure. I'm not confident in the Wings being able to get to 19 wins this season. So I guess my thought process would be under for the Las Vegas, the Dallas Wings this season, but they will be much improved. I think, 9 wins is not much at all last season. Now we move on to the inaugural season for the Golden State Valkyries, the new team, the Women Warriors. They had a win total of just 7.5 when I first started handicapping. Looking into these teams, it's now been bumped up to 8.5. Of course, they don't, have anything to go back for last season, so we'll be pretty brief here. This team doesn't have an identity. They want to instill, a sense of pride and camaraderie is what they talked about amongst the players, kind of making it a really good place to come to work. Natalie Nakashe, I'm probably butchered it. Nakashe. She does bring 16 years of professional coaching experience. She wants to build a team around unity and adaptability. She contributed to the Las Vegas Aces back-to-back championships. She wants to instill a culture, is what I'm looking for, of resilience and cohesion. And I've read that she was, kind of picking the brain of Boston Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla. And she also coached for the Clippers. I did some digging and found out that she actually coached for the Clippers as well, with Coach Ty Lue. So, I mean, she is experienced. When I look at this Valkyries, roster, first, before I get to the roster, let's talk about what the team wants to do. So they, of course, another coach that comes from the Becky Hammon, coaching tree, wants to build off defense, wants to play really quickly, quick pace, rely heavily on the veterans like Akayla Thornton, a Tiffany Hayes, who comes over from the Aces with this coach as well, and Monique Billings, who kind of bounced around all over the league. They do have I don't know how much I would say about their bench unit. I do like Kate Martin. I think second year for her should be good. Julie Van Loo coming over from the Mystics, I think will be really good for their second unit as well. But I look at this team, and I mean, you can look at them as well. They don't have a star. Like, nobody on this team is. I even like Terry Von Bagley. I think she was really, really good before she got hurt in that little stint that she played with the Indiana Fever last season. Veronica Burton, I think, coming over from Connecticut is another, shooter. Stephanie Talbert, I think, is really good for the team as well. They just don't have a significant leader, so it will be, difficult, I think, for them to close games. They will play hard. They got some vets on the team, but no, they don't have a superstar at all, and I think that's one of the reasons why they have the lowest projected win total of any team in the WNBA. It's going to be interesting to watch this team, though. I'm super excited. And it sounds like the fans in the Bay Area are as well. So, yeah, I'm interested to see. First game against the Sparks tomorrow. That'll be interesting. Let's keep it pushing, though. Next up, the Las Vegas Aces. Can they get back to championship form? Last season, a little bit of a downer for them, 27-13. Of course, coming off back-to-back championships before last season. And they are projected to be a little bit better and get back to their championship form. Not that 27-13 is a bad record, but they're projected to win 30.5 games this season. So you got to take the over at 31 or take the under at 30.5. You can get them at plus 350 on DraftKings to win the championship. This is a very high-powered offense. We know what the Aces are, right? Last season, second best offense behind only the New York Liberty, 106.1. Very, very strong true shooting percentage as well, 56.7. Ball security was really good. Whenever you have, Chelsea Gray out there at the point guard position, probably the best point guard in the NBA. In the WNBA, I don't even think it's really that close, honestly. They're going to take care of the basketball. They were a really good rebounding team. Asia Wilson, one of the top rebounders in the league as well. They love to play fast. Their weaknesses, the defense actually was pretty mediocre last season. It led to a plus 6.5 net rating for them, but they were the fifth best defensive team. I think they probably try to pick it back up on the defensive end this season. Because when you think about the Aces, you typically think about defense, but I mean, not that they don't play offense, but I think about the Aces. I think about them being able to lock down and get stops, and that's what they weren't able to do. They also didn't do a really good job of rebounding the basketball on the offensive end last season. 21.3 offensive rebounding rate, severely, limited them to get second chance points. They really struggled in that department. Assist distribution was also pretty low. We got to remember Chelsea Gray didn't play at the beginning of the season. She was coming back off of that lower leg injury. But the expectations for this team, right? So we think about the turnover. Kelsey Plum is gone now. She's now in LA. Sydney Colston is now gone. She's in Indiana. Their sixth woman of the year, Tiff Hayes, is now gone. She's in Golden State on that Valkyries team that we just talked about. And then Alicia Clark also left. She's back in Seattle, where she played at a while ago. The most interesting head-scratching thing for me is that, she played really well. And I'm talking about Deja Kelly. She played really well in the preseason. They cut her like yesterday. That kind of left me puzzled. But we think about the additions. You can see the first one here on the left-hand side. Jewel Lloyd is now coming over from Seattle. They signed a couple players as well. I think the biggest ones that moved the needle for me a little bit is Tiffany Mitchell, who missed a lot of the season last season due to the injury that she talked about after the season, pretty much ended. Dana Evans come over from Chicago. And then Cheyenne Parker-Tyus, I think, will be good for this team, but she's on maternity leave. She's not going to be with the team for quite a while. So at Media Day, Coach Becky Hammond and the players talked about, the importance of health, right? Chelsea Gray kind of being able to start the season off with the team and not having to get acclimated, how that is going to be crucial for them. The new roster turnover. They got some fresh players. They also kind of talked about the importance of just like staying. I mentioned this already, but like staying healthy, wanting to play fast. Becky Hammond wants the defense to look a lot better. They want to get back to be able to dominate on the offensive and defensive end. They want to be able to get out and run and transition and play really aggressively. So it's going to be interesting because I do think that while they lost a couple players, I was kind of high on some of these players that they lost. I think Sydney Colston as a vet is important to lose. Alicia Clark, we know what she was able to do in a couple of these championship runs. Tiff Hayes, I think, was really big for them last season. So it's going to be interesting. And then, Kelsey Plum and the Kelsey Plum for Jewel Lloyd, we'll have to see how that plays out. I'm not quite sure how that plays out, if I'm being honest. That's one of the things I can't quite pin down. Myself and a lot of players gave Kelsey Plum a lot of slack last year for her work on the defensive end. She was out there getting cooked a lot of the times on the defensive end. So we'll see if Jewel Lloyd, coming from a defensive-minded program in Seattle, if she's able to play defense, if she's able to be efficient. Jewel Lloyd had some very inefficient games last season. Not to say that, like being around, winning culture and winning players, not that they didn't win in Seattle either, won't change things. But I'm interested to see that swap for Jewel Lloyd and Kelsey Plum and see how that plays out. At 30 and a half, I think I'm good off their win total, though. Just too many things could go wrong. I think they're priced about right. So that's how I feel about the Las Vegas Aces. We'll talk a little bit more about them in just a second. Let's get through the rest of these teams. So next up, we got the Los Angeles Sparks. The Sparks are going to be interesting, man. I spent a lot of time digging into this team. Season win total sitting at 20 and a half. Last season, they were the worst team in the W, 88-32 last season. Worst record in the league. And they had 3 wins on the road, which was the second worst as well, right behind the Wings. We cashed the season team total under. I think it was right at the All-Star break, under 9.5, I think it was. And but I think they are going to be a little bit better this season. Last season, you can get them to make. They expected to make the playoffs, minus 170 right now on DraftKings, so a hefty price for them to make the playoffs. Odds makers are saying that they do. Last season recap. Why did they struggle? They were a solid rebounding team. Their playmaking was pretty good. They had a 70%, assist percentage, which was pretty good. They played with pace, but their offense really struggled at times. 97 offensive rating, not a good defensive team. 105.7 defensive rating led to a negative 8.6 net rating. Their shooting, they struggled at times, 47.8%, which was pretty low for their effective field goal percentage. And they turned the ball over, which made a lot of sense. They didn't have a true point guard last season with a lot of experience. 19.8 was their was their turnover ratio last season. So the expectations this season, you bring in a new coach, Coach Roberts, who has some experience, coaching not in the W, but in the NCAA in general. You get Cameron Brink back, right? Like she's provided a pretty positive update about her recovery from her torn ACL. She's progressing, but not expected to return until about June. So it's going to be a while for her to get, her legs underneath her. But now you have Kelsey Plum. You got a couple pickups as well in the draft. Some couple of these players I think will be really good for them. And you got some of that. So you still got the vets on the team like Azare Stevens. I think De'Erica Hamby, Kelsey Plum coming in being a vet, I think will be good. But the development of some of the young players, right? I'm not sure what that looks like. And Mercedes Russell also coming over. I forgot to mention her coming over from Seattle Storm as well. But the development of some of these young players, right? Like specifically, I'm thinking about Ray Burrell. I'm thinking about Rakia Jackson. Like in my opinion, it's going to be on these players to see how well this Los Angeles Sparks team is going to be able to perform this season. I do think that Rakia Jackson, Ray Burrell, I think that they're going to come in and play hard, play well. I like that they brought Odyssey Sims back because she's an absolute bucket off the bench. Emma Cannon, I think, is going to be really good for this team as well. So we'll see how it plays out. I think if I had to play, I think the total is still a little too high though. Like 20.5 is a lot of wins when you won just 8 games last season. And I get it. Like injury is going to be a part of the game. Somebody could get injured again this season. I think I would play under on their team total, even though I am expecting them to take a step in the right direction for sure. Everybody can't get better. Everybody, like all the teams can't get better. And even if you do get better and you finish with 19 wins, that's still a win. So I would play their team total under, even though I am expecting them to make some positive regression here. All right. Minnesota Lynx is the next team. And then we have, I think it's just two more teams after the Minnesota Lynx. This is a team that I am pretty high on. I mean, we should all be pretty high on the Minnesota Lynx. This team went 30-12 last season, went to the WNBA finals, and probably should have won it had the calls went their way. Best home team in the W last season at 16-4. You can get them at plus 380 to win the championship right now. They are second behind the most places have them second behind the New York Liberty. So we look at well, let's go back to last season first and kind of recap that. Strong offensive rating. This was one of the better offensive teams in the W, 102.8 offensive rating. They were one of the better teams in the defense as well, 94.8 defensive rating. Their assist percentage was really, really good. Whenever we think about Cheryl Miller and the way that she plays basketball with the leadership that she has out there at the point guard position, this is always a team that you can kind of bet on. They shot the ball decently. Actually shot the ball above decently. Their weaknesses, sometimes it was difficult for them to rebound the basketball. They struggled to get offensive rebounds, one of the lower tier offensive rebounding teams, which led to them not getting a lot of second chance points. And they did turn the ball over at times as well, 17.9 turnover percentage, which was slightly higher than the average in the W last season. So then we look at this season, right? The first thing I wanted to note was Dorka Juhas. She was a key contributor last season, but she also won't be playing this season for personal reasons. That just came out about a week ago. Well, actually earlier this week. So at the 2025 Media Day for the Minnesota Lynx, the team expressed a strong drive to channel that 2024 finals heartbreak into motivation for another championship run. Coach Cheryl Reed stressed focus, during training camp discussions. They have returning players though, which is why you got to be high on the Minnesota Lynx. Last year they overachieved. Nobody had the Minnesota Lynx getting as far as they did last season. But now you return. Natisha Heidemann comes back. Diamond Miller is back. She's coming off that injury after having probably an underwhelming performance and not meeting her own expectations last season. Bridget Carlton is still there. She's amazing. Elena Smith is still there. She's amazing. Courtney Williams at the helm, running the point guard position. Jessica Shepard was big for him last year. Kayla McBride is still there as well. And then you probably have probably the MVP on the team, not on the team, but probably the MVP of the season, at least the strong MVP candidate in the Fisher Collier, who absolutely had a breakout season the last year. So what they talked about was, just being disciplined, playing team-oriented style, emphasizing strong defense and cohesion, being versatile. It does suck that Carly Samuelson came over and she immediately got hurt and she's not going to play this season. But I still think that they got enough. I think that they do have enough. You lost Vandasili to the Valkyries, and then of course you don't have Dorka Juhas, but I still think that they have enough to kind of plug and play those pieces. I'm very, very bullish on the Minnesota Lynx. Not going to play their season win total at 30, at 30 and a half, but I do think that they are absolutely destined to play really well, as long as they don't have any kind of, health setbacks or, any type of stuff. And that, of course, can absolutely happen. So really, really bullish on the Minnesota Lynx. And I think that they'll be really, really good this season. All right, 2 more teams to get through. Next up, we got the Phoenix Mercury. Win total set at 24.5 after last season. They went 19-21. They finished 7th. They did end up making the playoffs last year. You can get them at plus 1,800 on DraftKings to win the championship. We go back to last season before we talk about this season. Their assist to turnover ratio was pretty good, 68.2%. Assist percentage, I'm sorry. They shot the ball decently. Their pace was moderate. They did have Brittany Griner, who typically slows the pace down a little bit. They really, really struggled, specifically at the end of the year, though. Defensive rating was 105.4. They were at minus 4.1 in net rating overall. Really, really struggled defensively. And also, even though they had Brittany Griner, they weren't a good rebounding team. That was one of the things that they really, really struggled with. They also struggled with turnovers, led to some easy, fast break opportunities for their opponents. That really, really hurt them a lot. So expectations for this season as we transition. Coach Nate Tibbetts is he of course has been around. This will be his second full year with the team. So he gets his first offseason to kind of, revamp his offense. And we'll talk about that in a second. But what came out at Media Day was that this team wants to play positionless. Another team that wants to play positionless, which is really good if you like overs. Positionless style basketball. They want to play up tempo. They want to play really good defense. And, they lose Diana Taurasi. She retires. Brittany Griner, of course, she left in free agency. She went to Atlanta. We talked about that. But they go out and they acquire Alyssa Thomas from Connecticut. They go out. They acquire Satu Sabali from the Dallas Wings. And you put those two with Kalia Copper, who, has won a finals MVP. They got a big three. They definitely got a big three. We'll see how it plays out. But like I said, they want to play positionless basketball. They want to be aggressive on the defensive end. They want to be physical, especially at the power forward position. They have some bigs that can absolutely play well. Alyssa Thomas. We'll see what that looks like for Satu Sabali if she can stay healthy. Hopefully she can stay healthy. But yeah, they have. I don't know how much depth they have. I know Rebecca Allen was hurt a lot last season, but I was really big on Rebecca Allen last season. Just for her defense. Sammy Whitcomb coming over from Seattle does add some floor spacing. I'm not too big on anybody else though. Kalani Brown, I think, will be she can play backup center for them at times. We'll see how everybody else plays out. I'm not too big on some of the role players on this team and some of the bench players, though. But I think that they are a little top heavy, in my opinion, and they do have absolute stars. 3 players on this team that could absolutely make the All-Star team this season, which is why I think that their win total is set at 24.5. They're expected to be, a good team, and I guess I would expect them to be a good team as well. It is interesting to note, though, that Kalia Copper missed a lot of the preseason. I wouldn't say a lot because it's only 2 games. I want to say she missed both of them. I know she didn't play in the last one. She's also out for the first game of the season against the Seattle Storm. So that's interesting to note. I think, from a chemistry perspective, especially when you have 2 ball dominant players coming in, it could mean less shot attempts for her, especially with, Alyssa Thomas kind of playing the point guard position. We know Satu is an absolute facilitator as well. So looking at her assists to go over something that she hit on a lot last season, and 2 years ago as well, when she played a full season for the Dallas Wings. So that's how I kind of feel about the Phoenix Mercury. Next up and last team on the board is the Seattle Storm. Seattle Storm sitting at 25.5 is their projected win total. They went 25-15 last season, so right about they would just need to repeat, win one more game. Strong home team, 14-6 at the crib last season, finished fifth. Overall, this was a really good team last season. I enjoyed watching Seattle. You can get them at plus 1,800 on DraftKings to win the championship. I actually don't think that's the craziest thing in the world. I think that they have the best, outside of the top four, I think that they do have the best odds and the best chances, in my opinion, to kind of cause some confusion and kind of break things up. I'm very bullish. I'm probably the more bullish on Seattle than I am on any team this season. So we go back to last season. Respectable offensive rating, 102.1. Defensive rating was really good. That's one of the reasons why I like them this season. 96.4 was their defensive rating last season. They were a plus 5.6 in net rating. Very solid rebounding team. Whenever you got Ezi Magmagor out there, I think you're always going to be a pretty good rebounding team. And they had some other guards that could rebound the basketball as well. So love what they were able to do, last season. And they played fast. They played with tempo. They did struggle to shoot the ball at times, specifically from the 3-point line. Skylar Diggins-Smith, I think, shot the ball pretty poorly last season. But her, getting another season in Seattle, I think will be good for her. If we look at the expectations for this team, I think, and a lot of people are talking about this, Skylar Diggins-Smith actually claimed that this is the most talented roster that she's played with in her 13-year career, kind of highlighting, the depth, the versatility of the team, even with them losing Jewel Lloyd. They did get the number 2 pick, Dominique Malanga. She's a 6'6" French absolute talent. She got a 7'1" wingspan. She's expected to be one of the focal points. I think she's going to anchor the defense a lot, provide a lot of rim protection, be a great rebounder for the team as well. In her offense, she can dunk. She probably going to put somebody in a poster. You add her with Ezi, so Ezi can actually play the 4 now. At times she'll play the 4. Nneka's still there. She's going to play. Nneka is, still really, really good as well. This team is really good, man. Skylar Diggins-Smith being the point guard. Also Gabby Williams, being there for the full length of the season. Last year she missed extended time at the beginning of the season, of course, because she was playing for the French team, for her national team. Alicia Clark returning back home. You also, hopefully Lexi Brown can stay healthy. Like, this team is deep, in my opinion, man. I actually like this team a lot. Coach Quinn talked about during media day, like accountability in general. Even with, Katie Lee Samuelson, injury, I do think that this team is going to be really, really good. I expect them to play really good defense and kind of, be anchored by their defense. I think their offense also could take a step up, even with Jewel Lloyd being gone. So I guess I kind of agree with Jewel Lloyd. I kind of agree with Skylar Diggins-Smith. I like this team a lot, man. Defensively, they're going to be dogs. Like, they got a lot of dogs out there. 3-point shooting may still need, a little work, but I think that they're going to be really, really good. So that's the recap of the Seattle Storm. Probably the bullish of any team that I'm bullish on is probably the Seattle Storm. I like the Storm a lot this season. Interested to see how they play against the Phoenix Mercury in their first game. All right, so let's go through some odds real quick. I talked about all these, but just kind of putting them up on the screen. These were all active as of about 3 days ago when I took the screenshots. So the Liberty are the favorite. You can see that the Aces and the Fever, but best odds, and this is all courtesy of Odds Jam, are plus 350, and then the Minnesota Lynx come in right behind them at plus 400. So when I go back and I talk about this, why I think the Fever could be a little overvalued, it's because I don't think that they're better than the Lynx. Like, plus 350 to plus 400. If I'm betting one of those, I'm betting the Lynx to get back to the finals and win it over the Indiana Fever winning in their first season without all the cohesion, new players, new coaches, all that new system. I'm just not like, I think the Fever are a little too, I think the market is a little too, over on them. So I'm not betting anybody to win the championship, but if I was making a bet, it would be on the Minnesota Lynx at plus 400. Looks like the best odds you can see across the board are ESPN Bet, Caesars, and BetMGM all got plus 1,400. My long shot would be the Seattle Storm though. Plus 6,600 on ESPN Bet is crazy in my opinion. You can see the odds are plus 3,500 and plus 2,000 on the other books. So those would be my long shots. I think it's going to be difficult for the Liberty to repeat. I wouldn't be betting the Liberty at plus 230. And then not really sure. I want to see, like I said, what Joe Lloyd looks like on the Aces. So I wouldn't make a bet on them either. All right, next up, season win totals. So if I'm betting season win totals, it's a couple. First of all, Seattle, 25.5. I think that they crushed that. I think Seattle could win 28 games this season. I really, really like that a lot. And you can get it at plus money on FanDuel. These odds were active as of the 14th, which was Wednesday. So I like Seattle a lot. Just talked about the reason why I like them. The Sparks at 20.5, I feel like is a tad bit too high. I mean, yes, they're better. Yes, I expect their bench to play better, but that's a big, big jump from 8 wins last season. I would be betting the Los Angeles Sparks under 20.5. The New York Liberty, I think 32.5 is a tad bit too high, minus 120. I would be looking at the under for the New York Liberty as well. It's not that they can't have another great season, but 33 wins is a lot of wins in the WNBA. Last season, nobody won 33 games last season. So you're betting on the Liberty to be better than last season if you like the over, and I would be betting on under for the Liberty. And then I talked about championship odds. I would be looking at the Minnesota Lynx. The Minnesota Lynx at plus 400 would be the way that I would be betting it. Did I add MVP? MVP is here. I mean, it's a fun bet, right? I think if injuries always come into account here. Caitlin Clark being listed as the favorite is interesting to me. I do expect her to take a big, big leap, of course, this season. But the team may be so good that Caitlin Clark may not need to, they could get contributions from everybody. We got to remember, Leah Boston's there now. Like, they still have a bunch of, really good players. Not sure if it'll be needed. Nafisha Collier, on the other hand, would be who I would be betting at plus 380. Redemption year for Fee. She looked really good in Unrivaled as well. I just think that, the way that they play basketball, she rebounds the basketball. She's a facilitator. She, of course, can shoot the ball from all parts of the floor. Great free throw shooter. Mid-range, the midi, the fadeaway, the three-point shot. It's all there for Fee. So I would be betting on Fee. Asia Wilson has won it, 3 times now? League probably don't want to give it to her again, but never could talk you off Asia Wilson to win the championship either. So those would be the ways that I would look. I don't even think I would take any of these long shots either. I think I would just sit with somebody in the top 4, but it probably would not be Brianna Stewart. She would be the person I would kind of keep off. If anything, maybe even Sabrina at plus 25 to 1. So yeah, those are the ways that I would be looking to bet if I was betting anything. So quick recap. I just kind of talked about all these. If I'm betting on Seattle, season win total over. I haven't made any of these bets though. I did lock in my first bet of the season for the W though. It's actually in the Saturday game. But if I'm betting season win totals, Seattle 25.5 over. Not Vegas. Los Angeles Sparks under 20.5. New York Liberty under 32.5. I do think the Lynx, if I wanted to bet it early, I would bet the Lynx to win the championship, and Fee would be my MVP redemption year for her. But I didn't bet any of these. In the comment section, if you still watching, let me know what it is that you'd be betting if you bet anything in the W this season. I'm interested to know how you guys are looking at it. What do you agree with that I said? What do you disagree with? Let me know in the comment section. Resources that I'll use to handicap the WNBA. Jackson will be available. Outlier, of course, will be available. Moneyballer, of course, will be available. OddsJam, I just showed you guys how to use OddsJam. So if you're interested in checking out any of the resources that I utilize, use the link in the description below. Save yourself some coin if you want to sign up. And that'll be it. We will be live tomorrow breaking down the 3 games in the W. Also talking game 6 between the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. So yeah, tap in with me then, 7:35 a.m. Eastern time. We will be live, man. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I will catch you guys in the next one.